I talked to Chris Lindsay at the DM's Guild about what he thinks are the best tips for any player in D&D. What advice do you have for new players to get the most out of the game?
If you're a brand new player getting into Dungeons & Dragons, you know what? Grab a pre-generated character off of our website. Sit down that you like the look of or feel of. Don't worry about the numbers part. And then just sit down and play. The Dungeon Master will tell you what is happening, and you just tell them what you, in your heart of hearts, think that your character would do. They will tell you about all the crazy numbers and the dice and stuff like that. And don't stress over that when you're playing. And that part will come later on. You'll grok the whole thing, and you'll get it, and you'll understand it like all the other nerds out there, and that's fine, But at first, just enjoy the idea of, being a different character in a different world, and the fact that you can pretty much try whatever you like, especially things that you might not try if you were in real life. Knowing the rules is important when you become a more advanced player. It's good to know the rules, and that just kind of comes with playing the game, right? So I don't ever worry about that. I would never push that as a focus. It's just going to happen. As you become a more experienced player, as you become the player that's looking for other players and so forth and so on, I really think your focus should be on making sure that not only you are having a good time, but things that you do are helping other people have a good time as well at the table, that you're contributing to the group's good time when you're playing. And be conscientious of the fact that everybody kind of has their own needs, and you included, but don't override others so far, or even attempt to play other people's characters for them. Make sure that what you're doing is in the boundary of good fun.
Why do you enjoy playing D&D? Like, why did it hook you, and why does it still hook you?
Well, I was drugged kicking and screaming into my first D&D game. We used to play a lot of board games. I was hyper competitive. But my biggest issue back then when I was a kid was I hate losing, and I'm really good at losing, right? Absolutely hate it. Dungeons & Dragons is a cooperative game where you're working together to build an experience, and everybody gets a chance to be cool. And even when you're not being cool, even when you fail, sometimes you fail so spectacularly, it's still cool, right? That's what I love about Dungeons & Dragons. I love the storytelling, and I love everybody kind of contributing to that whole group think story experience that the Dungeon Master kicks off with a spark, and then sometimes it just grows into a flame of awesome.
Those are the best moments when your character is doing something that is so detrimental to their well-being.
Yes.
when you get that sense of a character I will probably die. Mm-hmm. But I have to say this terrible thing, or I have to do this.
Or I have to do this thing, or I have to jump and do this ridiculously dangerous thing to save my friend, or to save the prince or the king, or to accomplish the thing we need to accomplish. I mean, the thing about D&D is that so many people want to play it like it's a game you can win. You only win D&D when you're having a good time, and I think that don't let the numbers get in your way. If you think you want to do something in your heart and hearts, and you're going to leap across the fiery chasm to do the thing and grab the rope and swing across, and then you trip horribly over something, just roll with it. It happens. It happens in the movies, and some of the best comedic action movies ever come from those moments.
Right, Indiana Jones isn't fun because he's great at things, necessarily.
Exactly. No. Well, Han Solo, he's running down the hallway. He gets to the
basically Harrison Ford in general. Think of Harrison Ford.
And he turns around and runs the other way. Why? Because there's too many stormtroopers down there. Go! Just go with it. Right? You're in the haunted house. If you got a 6-shooter in each hand, kick the door open. Right? Screw traps. As soon as the discussion lasts, for me personally as a player, when I'm playing and not DMing, if the discussion lasts longer than 15 seconds, I've already turned to the Dungeon Master and said, I'm doing this, and I move forward. I do not like discussing. In real life, I'm very much a planner. I'm very methodical. I'm very organized. When I play D&D, I want action. I want as much pulp action as I can get my hands on, and if the discussion lasts too long, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going.
Yeah, but that helps keep it moving forward. Like my wife is that way.
Yes.
Like, there'll be a very intricate conversation about what to do with this particular magical item. She'll just be like, boop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, those are the fun moments.
The cool part about it is that the Dungeon Master at that point that you're playing with gets to see the fun thing that happens when somebody does whatever crazy stuff it is that you're doing. And so that makes the game fun for them too. So I always like, as a player, because I Dungeon Master a lot, I always like as a player to be conscientious of the Dungeon Master's fun and basically trigger as many of his little tricks as I can.
And do you have any advice for DMs?
You're never wrong. Let's just start with that. And if you screw something up, you're never wrong. Don't ever tell the players you screwed something up. They won't know. If they ask why that doesn't fit with a particular rule, stroke your chin and go, weird, huh? They'll invent whatever it was that you think you didn't have in the back of your head, and the game will just keep on rolling forward. So just remember, you're never wrong.
And other than never being wrong, do you have any other advice? Like prepping or over-prepping, being loose?
Well, how much preparation or not that you do is really up to individual Dungeon Masters. I know Dungeon Masters that are really comfortable with a lot of improvisation. That's typically more experienced Dungeon Masters. Newer Dungeon Masters, I would recommend, first of all, that you start with an adventure product that you think looks cool, even if you make changes to it, but read it through and see how the flow and the structure of a game kind of goes by looking at those documents. In particular, the Fandelver adventure in our starter set is like one of the best ever. I love that adventure. In particular because it has little caption sidebar thingies in it that tell helpful hints for the Dungeon Master. Hey, this is one thing you may want to consider as you're running this encounter, right? But look at the written material and then ask yourself if you're really happy with it, and if you feel like it's not quite there yet, remember, if you complicate it with something else, that can only make it more fun.
Complications equal fun.
That's right, that's right. It's okay to look at an encounter and say, there's just not enough spice here. What it really needs is 5 more goblins. Or what it really needs is somebody up in the tree. Or what it really needs is some crazy flying gnome. Or whatever it is. Don't feel constrained at all by what's written in the book. Look at it, think, find the fun kernel in it, and then feel free to expand on that any way you like.